everyone, I'm Morgan, and today I actually wanted to do a book haul. So my summer book haul. I know it's been like almost a year since I've done a book haul. I mentioned at the time that I didn't want to make a book hauls anymore because I was sick and tired of talking about books I didn't know, and I think reviews are more my thing. But I've actually been missing making them because I really like the excitement and everyone telling you what they have already really read that you just bought, and so that's kind of what I'm hoping for this, that I can show you just everything that I got first during the summer, and I got quite a lot of books for some reasons, and also just tell you why I bought these books, and I think that's enough. I don't need to tell you everything about them. I mean, you do have Goodreads and all their stuff if you want to know more about these books, or you can just wait for my review. So it's fine if I don't talk about them in depth, I think. You tell me what you think. But so yeah, I just want to tell you about everything I've bought in the last few months. So as I said, so I have quite a few books. Like, I don't know how many exactly, but I would say like at least 40 books. So we're going to be here a while. So I'm going to go through these books in the order that I got them. So first I'm going to show you the books that I got in June. So at first I was kind of reasonable, so I got just The Outsiders by Hinton. I got this one in my local bookstore because I have been meaning to read for quite a while, and it's basically considered the first YA book ever written, and it was fine, you know, like I read it for the reading rush, so you can see my thoughts in my vlog if you want. Then I got Ship of Magic by Hobb, which is the first book in the Mad Ships trilogy. I have just finished the Farseer trilogy, so I'm going to get to this one at some point to continue in the Elderlings series. I really love these books and this author, so I'm excited for it. Then I got the fifth book, the fifth Harry Potter book in the Slytherin edition. So I have been really enjoying these editions. I know people don't want to buy Harry Potter books anymore, and I get that, but also that was a few months ago, so just be nice. And I don't know, I still love Harry Potter even with everything with J.K. Rowling, so. Then I got from Blackwell's Sally and Gabi Break the Universe and Sally and Gabi Fix the Universe, which are the two books currently out in the Sally and Gabi series. I read the first one in the series where I read the BookTube SFF Awards nominees. So this was nominated in the middle grade category, and I liked it so much that I bought a physical copy, and also the second book that came out in May, and I've already read it, and I think my review is already out, and so I will link it if you care, but it was just a great time. Then I was talking with one of my friends about like fables and such, and we mentioned the Arabian Nights, and as it has been some time since I read it, I wanted a copy so that I could get to it. So I got this beautiful leather edition so of the Arabian Nights. This is a translation by Sir Richard Burton. I've actually started to read it like once in a while, but I'm not really enjoying it because this translation is very racist, and actually that's what I read about it. Like, there's a bit of a foreword at the beginning of the book about the translation, and it says that the translation sort of says more about the time where it was translated rather than about the book. So in almost every story you have like a big hulking black guy who gets the girl and fucks her, and you're like, what the fuck? So I don't know when I'll go back to this, but I have been meaning to reread it. Then I finally got The City We Became by Jemisin. I had pre-ordered this since the beginning of 2020, but it did take some time to get to me as we had lockdown and everything, so I am glad I finally got a copy, though I ended up listening to the audiobook. I did really enjoy it. Then I went to my local used bookstore and I found a copy of A Gentleman in Moscow by Emerald Halls. I actually started reading this last year. I think it was during the reading rush actually, and I was really enjoying myself, but I didn't really have the time to devote to it at the time, so I just DNF'd it and told myself that I would get back to it some other time, so now I finally have a copy because I got it from the library initially. Then I went a little nuts because I mentioned in one of my videos a few weeks ago that one of my goals for the end of the year is to finish all of the books that I mentioned into my videos, which were the videos where I talked about authors that I wanted to read. So I did one for literary fiction authors and another one for SFF authors. So I have quite a few authors to read for that still. So there were 10 in each video, and I didn't actually have books for all of these authors, so my reasoning is I want to read at least 2 books by each of these authors to decide if I actually like them or not. And so I made a huge order in the website wordery.com, which I've been using to other books. They're an independent online bookshop, so I've been wanting to stop buying from Amazon and also Book Depository, which is owned by Amazon. So I found this website which I have been really liking, and I got many books. So first, the order that I made, so I got Elric the Sleeping Sorceress, which is the 4th book in the Elric series. I was going to read the 3rd book very soon, but it didn't happen, but I still am going to read it at some point, and so now I have the 4th one. And so for the videos that I mentioned, I got The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, Hyperion by Dan Simmons, City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Benett, Hotel World by Ali Smith, Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, Nevernight by J. Kristoff, Hardboiled Wonderland and The End of the World by Haruki Murakami. And later on I bought Daisy Miller and The Turn of the Screw by Henry James because I've been meaning to read this classic for a few months. I keep hearing about it, and yeah, I'm going to get to that pretty soon. Then I don't know why, but apparently that order wasn't enough for me, so I got even more books on this same website, wordery.com. So I also got The Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons, which is the 2nd book in the Hyperion series, Hyperion Cantos I think it's called, that I just bought. I also got To Say Nothing of the Dog by Connie Willis, which is the 2nd book in the Oxford time travel series, and I also own the 1st book that I haven't read yet, but I really want to get to because it sounds amazing. I also got Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, and all of the books that I still needed in the Death Note series, so the black editions. So I have the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So they're all really beautiful, and I'm excited to continue on with this series. Then I also got more books from Blackwell's, and they were Heartstopper volumes 2 and 3 because I read the 1st volume a few months ago and I really liked it, so I wanted to have the rest of the series that is already out. It's also a webcomic, so you can read it online, but I enjoy seeing the physical copy because it's really beautiful illustrations. Then I got The Street by Anne Petrie from Blackwell's as well, because this was the book club book for the diverse book club that Seiji at The Artisan Geek is running. So I actually finished this so not too long ago in the end, so I took my time, but it was really good. Then I went on vacation at the beginning of July, and I first was pretty responsible with my book buying, so I just got Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which is the 1st book in the Infernal Devices. I have read quite a few books by Cassandra Clare, but I have never read the Infernal Devices trilogy, so I thought it was about time that I started it, and I bought this one at an English bookstore in Aix-en-Provence, which was quite pretty. It was called something, well, now I'll remember. yeah, book and bar, sorry, yes. And it had some sort of a cafe somewhere in the bookstore that was really nice, and it had air conditioning, so in summer that's just something that is great, I feel. And I didn't stay for a drink, but I still really liked seeing that bookshop, and the people there were really nice. Then I went to Lion in July as well to see my boyfriend, and I went to most of the English bookstores and just bookstores that have English books, because some bookstores sell both French and English books. So I did get this book that is actually in French, which is Liechtenstein. So this is about the... Sorry, I'm trying to not blind you. This is about Liechtenstein, so the painter, who I really like. So I have some reproductions of his paintings in my room, which I really love. His style is pop art, and I love that. And this is all about his work, basically. So I'm really going to like going through this. So I went to 2 bookstores, and I got first these 2 books. So Ethan Frome by the Edith Wharton, and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling in this used edition that I adore. This is my favorite editions of the Harry Potter books, to be honest, but it's really hard to find. Like, I have found some complete sets online, but I have no idea in what condition they are, because they're not sold new anymore. So whatever, I'm trying to find them whenever, just separately. And so this is the 6th one, and I have also the last one in this edition, and I think it's beautiful. So yeah, I'm happy I found that. And I'm also like collecting the Penguin English Library editions, so when I saw this one I was really excited. Plus I've heard really good things about Edith Wharton, so I'm excited. And the other bookstore that I saw, I got The Gap of Time by Janet Winterson, and The Spy Who Came In From the Cold by John le Carré, which I like. I've actually finished another book by John le Carré just yesterday that I quite liked. So basically most of his books are about spies, and this book is the 3rd book in the George Smiley series, so it follows almost always the same character, and I read the first one in the series, so I quite liked it, so I'm excited to get to more of it, and this is said to be one of his best books. So then I went to a restaurant with my boyfriend in Lyon, and they actually used books to put the check at the end of the meal. And so we talked to the waitress, she was saying that every time people make the joke, they're like, can we bring the book home? And so we did it, and she said, but like, if you want to get it, that's fine, like I'll just look elsewhere. And so that's what she did, and I took the book, which was Vie Minuscule by Pierre Michon. I had no idea what this book was about, but from what I've seen, it's a French classic from the 1970s or 60s, and it's pretty well known and has really good ratings, so that's exciting. And then apparently I still hadn't enough. I mean, I kind of did, like I told myself that I should stop buying books because it's just too much, and I'm really trying to get my book buying down and just my TBR, but when I got out of the metro one day, I saw this beautiful French bookstore, and it just looked so cozy that I came in and I started talking to this guy who worked there and asking him if he had any good recommendations of science fiction and sci-fi by French authors, because I don't read any of it, and he gave me quite a few recommendations that seemed so great. So I bought quite a few of them. I bought Le Livre Jaune by Michael Roch. I have no idea what this is about. I know it's fantasy and it's really short. It came out very recently. I don't know if it's translated or not, but if it is, I will put it down below. Then I got Dystopian Duology by Pierre Bordage, who is a pretty well-known science fiction author in France. And so the first book is Les Portes d'Occident, and the second one is Les Aigles d'Orient, and they're part of the Wang duology, it's called. And he just told me that everyone who has read the first one just needs the second one immediately, so he convinced me to buy the two together. I mean, I guess he's a very good commercial, or just I'm really easy whatever, but I'm really excited to get to that. And I'm actually thinking of doing a vlog where I just read all French SFF, because that would be interesting for me and just for anyone, because I guess in the English world people don't really know about French SFF. I mean, I don't even, so. And the last two books that I got there were Même pas mort by Jean-Philippe Jaworski. I've actually read a book by this author before, like 1 or 2 years ago, that one of my best friends gave me, and I really liked it, so I'm excited to get to this. And this is also part of a series which is called Roi du Monde, so Kings of the World, literally. So I'm excited to get to this one. And the last one is Pyramide by Romain Benassaya. I've heard that this author also is pretty well known in sci-fi, French sci-fi, so I'm interested in that. I love sci-fi, and I think it's also sort of dystopian. It's set in the future. I think that's what I remember. Yeah, that's it. And I have no idea what this is about. I mean, he did tell me what all these books were about when we were talking, but I always forget. So I think that's always great, because I prefer going to book not knowing much. Then I got back home to Strasbourg, and I do think I was more reasonable, sort of. So I first got The Vanishing Half by Benett, which I had pre-ordered because it was out of stock. And I am really excited to get to this. I mean, I have been looking forward to it, but it still hasn't felt like the right time to pick it up for some reason. Like, I'm always looking for the right time to pick up a book, and so far I haven't found it for this one, but I hope it's going to come very soon. And that day when I went to the bookstore, I also saw that they had a Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, so I got this one as well, which also will be great for the video that I talked about earlier for these authors that I want to read in SFF, and Octavia E. Butler was in that list. Then I went back to the bookstore another day to get Loveless by Alice Oseman, which I had pre-ordered, and that day I also saw that they had An Unkindness of Ghosts by River Solomon, which I had been eyeing for some time. I've heard so many great things about this book and this author everywhere on BookTube, so I'm really excited to get to it. And then obviously Utopia Avenue by David Mitchell came out, so I got this one, which I had also pre-ordered, and I still haven't read it, and I suck. But I'm going to get to it at some point. It's just such a chunker, so I guess I'm not afraid really, but just taking my time. Now for the last books that I read really recently, one day I was just at the bookstore because I had some time to kill and I couldn't help myself. I bought The Sparrow by Maria Doria Russell. I have heard quite a bit about this book. This is a sci-fi modern classic, I would say, and I don't really know much about it. I think it's about aliens, like what do they call that? A first contact with aliens story, and I don't really know much. I know there's a lot about religion also in this book, and I had been eyeing this edition in particular, and so I was really happy to find it at the bookstore because I've never seen it there before. Then I went back to the bookstore again with one of my friends because we were just going everywhere at the bookstores, and I couldn't help but buy Real Life by Brendan Taylor. I have been wanting to read this one for so long since it came out, but it was really expensive at first, so for the hardback, and I didn't want to spend so much money on something that I wasn't sure I was going to like, but the more I heard about it, the more excited I got, and I have now finished it, and it was great. I mean, really sad, but so amazing, so I can't wait to tell you more about it in my review. Then with my friend we also went to the used bookstore, and I saw this edition of Minnet's Children by Salman Rushdie. I already own this book actually, but I always wanted this edition instead of the one I had, so I got it anyway, and I feel good about it. And after the last two books I got Foundation and Empire, which is the second book in the Foundation series. So I read the first one during the reading rush, and I really loved it, so I couldn't wait to get to the second book, and I finally have it. And while I was buying this one on Blackwell's, I also saw that they had the Man in the High Castle, which was really cheap, so I got this one as well by Philip K. Dick. I've been wanting to read this one for quite a few months as well. This is a dystopian modern classic, and I love dystopia. I've heard quite a few people talk about it, but not any specifics that I can remember, as usual, but I am really excited to read it, though it doesn't have the best reviews actually, so I'm not sure. Like, I know some of my friends really like it, so that's a good thing, but overall I haven't seen great reviews, so I'm trying to lower my expectations to not be disappointed. But anyway, it's a nice cover, I like it, and this edition of Penguin Modern Classics I really like, so yeah. That was the last of the books that I had to show you, so please tell me if you have read any of these books and if you want me to prioritize any of them that I haven't read yet, because I would love to know that as well, because I don't think I'm going to be able to read all of them during this year. I mean, I'm going to try, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. Just tell me about that, and also what books you have bought recently that you're excited to get to, so I'd love to know that as well. But yeah, that's all for me for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon in the video. Goodbye! Dream I know, deep up my feelings for you.